Well, I'll start with the elephant in the room question. How do you approach this offseason? This is the normal timetable, obviously, to possibly seek a long-term contract extension. Do you know, how much has that been a focus of yours, and will it affect your attendance at any camps or anything like that?
No, you know, I mean, there's, you know, I don't really want to talk about it, I guess, but, you know, it's not going to change what I'm doing, how I train, how I approach the off season. You know, when camp comes around, I'm going to be here. So, yeah.
And what is your focus for this off season? I mean, is there anything in particular you've honed in on that you wanted to improve or change this off season?
Yeah, you know, there's always a couple little things that I'd like to keep on improving in, run pass game. So yeah, I've been training and working at those things so far.
Anything specific? I know to us, it probably seems hard to think you can keep evolving, and you know, once you get into year 4, year 5 in the NFL. But is there anything specifically that you're focusing on?
Yeah, you know, it's the NFL. You know, everyone is really good at what they do, and it's kind of that process of always trying to get better. You know, you're never going to play a game where you get done and you're like, wow, I did everything 100% correctly. So, you know, there's little things in my pass pro that, you know, I'd like to change, staying a little bit more square or using my hands a little bit better. And then in the run game, you know, some, you know, like a backside cutoff, just getting my feet right. And just really little fine details like that I'm trying to improve on.
Brian, is there anything chemistry-wise, just going into having a year under your belt next to Caesar that can help you guys just on that side of the line, just being a little bit more familiar with one another?
Yeah, you know, I think like you said, being a little bit more familiar with each other. You know, we played quite a few games together now last year, and I think our chemistry is growing and evolving and getting better. It's, you know, he's easy to work with, and you know, we're able to talk to and communicate through each other. And yeah, I think it's getting better, and going to be good to get another camp with him and roll into the season. I think we'll be in a good situation.
Is there any benefit for you guys just with the way this offseason you guys are going about? You're training more classroom stuff, just being in a classroom together and maybe taking a step back from the on-field to just look at it from that perspective?
Yeah, you know, obviously the classroom aspect of football is a major key, and you know, I think looking at it from that aspect, there's a lot of things to work on as well. So I think, yeah, being in the classroom is very beneficial for us, and also, you know, we're getting some good on-field work too as well. So, yeah.
Orleans, could you maybe you talked about the offensive line and kind of the continuity and building familiarity. Maybe just a different quarterback now. Obviously, you knew how Drew did things and what he did and how he did it. Just developing a familiarity, at least somewhat with Taysom last year, but with Jameis, what they like. How do you handle that? How does the O-line handle that, knowing that they're two different players and you're going to have two different guys maybe doing it a different way?
Yeah, you know, obviously I've really only played with Drew, and then Taysom a little bit, Jameis a little bit, but you know, obviously it's going to be a little different. I'm used to what Drew is and how he commands the huddle and his flow, so it is going to be different. But I think you really can't approach it any different. I have to go do my job, and the O-line has to have their same chemistry, and we have to do our job up front, no matter who's, you know, the quarterback. So yeah, it'll be a little bit different, but you know, it's something that we're going to get used to, and we'll be good.
Does it affect you guys when the starting quarterback is announced? Does it matter if it's, you know, earlier or later in camp in terms of developing that chemistry and the timing it takes to be ready for week 1?
I don't think it does. I think the decision will be made when it needs to be made. You know, our coaches we have a great coaching staff here that is going to be able to make the call on that. So, you know, we're going to roll with whatever it is.
Ryan, with the two-headed approach you guys took in the O-line meetings, just with Dan and Nugent both taking turns leading those meetings over the years, just having two voices in there, how does that help you guys? Just is it good to have like a fresh perspective and a change-up?
As far as
I know like Dan would lead some meetings and Nugent would lead some meetings in previous years. And, obviously Nugent's now moved up into the main position. Just having both those guys lead some meetings, just how helpful is that just for the group to have different perspectives?
Yeah, I think it's good. Like you said, they both can lead different things and work off of each other, and we can hear different perspectives and different coaching points from different coaches. So, I think that's beneficial. And then, Streif stepping in as the assistant O-line coach has been big. He was a huge mentor for me when I first came into the league, and he's got a wealth of knowledge as well. So, I'm confident with our coaches, and I think it's a really good situation.
Anything else for Ryan?
How much does it help you guys if you get Michael Thomas back for a full healthy season? Obviously, he only played in a few games last year. How much does that help your overall offense? If he could stay healthy this year, just like he was in 2019?
Yeah, I think it's huge. Mike's a phenomenal player. Everyone knows that. So, obviously that would be huge for him to be able to play a full season. Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, guys.
Marcus said, obviously this offseason you had the franchise tag applied. Was that a surprise to you, or was that something maybe you were even expecting? And were you kind of anticipating anything potentially starts?
Oh, that is what it is. I'm just happy to be back, happy to be with my teammates again, and we're just ready to get it rolling.
For you last year, do you feel like you took a step forward last year? Like is that kind of what you were anticipating?
I feel like I take a step forward every single day. I always practice and I always get in my field room, trying to get better each and every day. And every time I stepped on the field last year, I felt like I took a step forward. And just with being a leader and being around my teammates and just learning from other guys and having guys learn from me, it was a big step forward, especially being in year 4. It was a big step, I feel.
I know last year your big focus was tackling, and that obviously paid off really well for you. Was there anything this year that you set is like the main thing you were working on?
I just keep working on my game, little bits and pieces of my game, playing man coverage, still tackling. Tackling is something you work on every single year. You don't just stop. You have 1 year, you don't just stop. But I feel like I just keep getting better at little things with my trainers, and we just keep focusing, dialing in, watching what I need to improve on from the last year's season, and just get better on that for the upcoming season.
Marcus, has there been a big shift in your mindset, not just tackling, but being more, authoritative or in general? I know a couple of your big highlights last year came separating guys from the ball when at the point that they were going to catch it. And was that a big focus for you, and has it continued to be?
I just make plays on the ball. It's just something I do. It's not like, that I couldn't do it. You could look back on the past year's film and you can see I was doing it then. You may have seen a bigger emphasis on it because maybe you were a little dialed more then, but it's something I've been always doing since I've been playing DB, and it's something I continue to get better at. It's never going to be perfect, but I always work to be a perfectionist in everything I do.
Is there anything that jumps out immediately about Chris Richard, your first chance to work with him?
He's very passionate, and he's coaching us with his passion, and he loves the game. He loves to coach, and he's going to give us his all. And every single time when he steps his feet out of bed, he's ready to go. And he says if I'm not ready to go, I'm not going to take my 2 steps out of bed. So I already know what to expect. He puts his faith in God first, and after that, he comes out and he does what he's supposed to do out here and helping us get ready for this upcoming season. Just for the little days and the little film sessions we've had already, is you could already see it's going to trickle down to the rest of us.
And his history, just like working with those great Seattle secondaries and stuff like that, did you guys pay attention to that? Do you know about that? And how do you kind of feel about working with a guy who worked with the Legion and stuff like that?
Well, I never grew up watching football and stuff like that, but hearing his background and being, with the Legion of Boom and with Dallas and stuff like that, they had some good secondaries, and I just hope he's gonna, I already know he's gonna bring that same intensity that he brought with them. He's gonna give us the little bits and tips that he had with them and what made them successful and bring it to us. And we're just gonna, put them together from what we had successful and what he has successful, and make it even better over here.
Marcus having the different voice in Chris from AG, how much of an adjustment has that been so far?
It's only been a short time, so I mean you can't really pick it up yet. But as the season goes on, I'll pretty much get a little better feel. But right now it's just getting to know each other, getting to know how each other are. I've been with AG for 4 years, and just being with him it's going to be new for a little bit. But as we go on, it'll get a little better.
Marcus, if I could maybe circle back to the franchise tag, have you kind of reconciled the fact that maybe this year you play under the franchise tag? Are you cautiously optimistic for a new contract? And at a certain point, do you say the focus is football and I don't really want to focus on the contract at a certain point?
Right. That's not for me to focus on. My focus is playing, being around the team, and everything else will play out. Will take care of itself.
Marcus, you guys are going to have a new starter at cornerback. How equipped do you think this secondary is to absorb that change? Since he'll be surrounded by a lot of experienced veterans at the other 4 starting spots.
Right. It's always good to have experienced veterans out here, and we have Marshawn, we have PJ, we have Chauncey, we have Malcolm, we have a lot of veteran guys. P-Rob, we have a lot of veteran guys that are willing and able to help any young guy or any new guy who comes in, and that's just what we do. We always have the next man up mentality. So whoever comes in, no matter who it is, even if it's a guy that's already been here, we're already ready to mold together and get that culture back up and running and figure out what our identity for the year is going to be. And we just know that we're going to have a good coach to help us bring everybody together.
How do you guys develop that chemistry since you're in the classroom more than on the field? How does that chemistry evolve differently this season?
We still have training camp. You can't forget that. We still have a lot of time to go. Everybody just needs to make sure we get our bodies right and get ready for the season. Just being on the Zoom calls and in the meeting room, that's still very helpful. Being able to get that chemistry, talk about it, watch a film, stuff like that. It helps you. It helps you a lot more than you know.
Looking back, how do you feel like the chemistry was between you and Malcolm last year? And do you feel like you guys can be even better just as a duo, given that you already have a season together?
There's always room for improvement. Of course, we could get better. Malcolm knows a lot about the game. He's very smart. He knows a lot, and he's going to help me a lot this year. Just being 1 year under my belt with him. This next year, I expect to have a way better year. Just knowing how to read and knowing just even more run fits, because I'm not usually down, but he's gonna help me do a lot more this year. So having an experienced person like Malcolm going on his 13th year is really gonna help me elevate my game. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Marcus.
Blessed to be alive, blessed to take another breath, blessed to be healthy. A lot of blessings.
That's good to hear.
Yeah, can't complain.
Marcus Davenport yesterday was talking about how he kind of focused on the mental side of things this offseason and growing his confidence. I know it's only been a little bit since you guys have been back together, but have you seen that in him just being around him?
Yeah, I mean, he's sort of taken this approach where he's asking a lot more questions than normal for Marcus. It's more directed towards how is he going to, better himself in terms of how I react to a certain play versus he'll react to a certain play. And it seems like he's more locked in this early into the season. Can I say season? Like, we haven't even, this is technically minicamp. Like, it starts the season. It's part of the season. We got a month off after this. I mean, whatever.
Makes sense. We've all kind of talked about like his potential. I mean, what do you think he could be if he puts it all together, if he stays healthy and all that?
Yeah, I mean, the only thing harboring Marcus has probably been Marcus. I mean, when you talk about his ability when he is on the field and he is healthy, you've seen flashes from him that are freakish. And I mean, you know, I've probably said it more times than not. Like, he is just a hell of a freakish talent, just in terms of his size and explosion, his ability to make plays, and his fearlessness when he stops himself from thinking too much. And at times, you know, he is harbored by these injuries, these nagging injuries that have been around. But I feel like heading into year 4, he's healthy. He's mentally in a great space. And I think he's physically poised to make a leap this year.
So he kind of alluded to yesterday, you playing through something. Were you playing through something last year? He just mentioned how, you know, he looks at you and sees how you don't stop when something's wrong. And just curious if there was something going on that maybe we didn't know about.
It's football. Nobody's 100% healthy. I mean, the only thing we do know is that we have a game coming, you know, that week. We have 17 games coming up. We got to make it through all of them. Nobody plays 100% healthy anymore, unless, you know, you're just that blessed. 10 years in, you're going to have something.
So was there a number that if it wasn't 100, you know, was there something going on?
I don't look back. I look forward. Look, we got this season to worry about.
So how different is this offseason for you compared to last year, just with the pandemic? And you were coming back from something last year. So, I mean, just how do you feel like your work's been this offseason?
I didn't have to go under the knife this past offseason. I mean, I'll take that. I mean, when we think about what we want to do as a team and how close we've been the last couple of years, last 4 years, going to the playoffs with these Super Bowl hopes, heading to this training camp, you know, we just got to sharpen our skills. I feel like our defense has to take another step. Our offense has to, you know, do what they have to do. And with Sean and now Jameis having a year under of our system under his belt, and Taysom, and everything that we have as a team, I think we're collectively poised to be strong this year.
And I know it's super early. You guys really haven't been around each other a whole lot, but just your impressions of the rookie and how he settled on it.
I keep calling him Marcus Davenport Jr. I'm not sure if the similarities are, but I had him come to the house and pick up some body armor, some stuff to put up into the D-line room. My daughter thought he was definitely Marcus, and I was like, that's not. I was like, all right. He just walked up to him. Mr. Marcus was at the house. No, Mr. Marcus was not at the house. That is Peyton. That is all right. But, you know, she's 4, so, you know, she's allowed to make those mistakes.
Hey, Cam, you did some really important work over the offseason, financing anti-racism training for police in New Orleans. First of all, thank you for that work. And secondly, how impactful was it to be able to bring that to the community?
Man, honestly, you know, Crescent City Corps has done a phenomenal job with some of the training that they had already had before. Their first cohort was amazing in terms of the anti-racism, the leadership training, the equality provisions that they provide as a third-party entity that's not just, you know, again, it's not a part of the actual police force, is not attached to any government regulation. It's just a 501(c) that came in with great intentions. And after, you know, looking at some of the regiments of their first cohort, I got excited about it, and talking with them, I got more excited about the impact it could make. So being able to be a part of the second cohort, I mean, attending some of these classes with some of these officers, it really gives a feel that, at least New Orleans, that we want to aim towards making a better impact towards the community and the policing force.
Thanks for helping to create a safer community in that way. May I ask, if you don't mind, is there a plan to continue that work?
There's always a plan. I mean, if anything, if I've been here for 10 years and if you haven't learned anything about me, I'm always looking to see what more I can do. I mean, I feel like this community is my second home. They brought me in. Hell, this is my kids' first home. They were all born here. You know, like it's not about me. It's about the legacy provided. I mean, to look at my kids and know that hopefully they'll be in a better position than I was growing up, it is really a motivating factor. When you think about the community that I've been a part of, I mean, everywhere from New Orleans East to living down in CBD to, you know, now being in Metairie and still, you know, being in church still in the East, everything that we do, going to the best bank, doing what we have to do. There's a larger community out there than just what I'm looking forward to. So I'm always trying to affect us in a positive manner.
Amazing. Thank you.
Being such a veteran on the team, you said you always look to do more. So what can you even do more at this point in your career to make y'all's defense even better?
More forced fumbles. I mean, it's time to create create these turnovers. with more turnovers, it gives our offense a better chance to put more points on the board. And it seems like, this mini camp, there's going to be an emphasis on, getting this ball back. I feel like our defense has made strides the last couple of years. You've got leaders on every position from, Marcus Williams to Marshawn Lattimore to, Double D to at the linebacker position, Demario Davis being the all-pro that he is. And then, of course, you've got me at D-line. And, when you look at a defense and you have senior veterans. Senior veterans? Is that the word? You have vets, and then you bring in a guy like, Malcolm Jenkins, who's been here, on his second go-around, and after having success this last year. Again, you look at it at the vets that are in positions of leadership, and you feel comfortable. You know that the locker room is going to be corralled the right way. You know that the young guys coming in are going to be taught the right way. You know that the culture that we have established is going to keep on headed towards the direction that we want it to. So when it comes down to it, senior veterans, I feel like that's gonna haunt me. That's gonna throw me for a loop. But when it comes down to it, I think that our defense is going to have to be a strength this year, more so than it has been in previous years.
What's the adjustment having that extra week between the first week of the season with only 3 preseason games, and the teams that are productive and rest enough in that off week?
Have no idea yet. Haven't had to deal with that. Last year, did we have preseason games? Well, that's true.
Yeah, no preseason at all last year. So
yeah, so
3 better than none.
Yeah, back to preseason games. I'm more focused on the first week, and then we'll worry about week after that. When it comes down to it, as long as we're mentally and physically prepared for week 1, that's what's important to me. Then I guess the second most important thing would be winning a Super Bowl, and the third most important thing would be like celebrating the Super Bowl. But we'll worry about that later.
Cam, you mentioned the culture and things like that. Are you curious to see how this maybe kind of grows organically? Because for so long it was Drew Brees' team, and the Saints were synonymous with Drew Brees. But now that Drew is gone, are you kind of curious to see, does it become Cam in the defense, Alvin Kamara, just kind of how the new perception of this team grows now that Drew isn't the face of the operation, so to say?
I just gave you that roster check of what we have on defense in terms of leadership. If you want to ask for that offensive leadership, where you have one of the most dynamic running backs I've ever seen in AK, when you have a top-tier receiver when he's healthy. When I say top-tier, he's probably number 1. And Michael Thomas, of course. And then you talk about what our quarterbacks can do. We have a quarterback who's thrown for 5,000 yards in this league, in the NFL. And after, being in our offense for a year, he's probably more comfortable than he was last year. You get excited about what he can do. I feel like in terms of leadership, we've got a lot to offer. And shoot, let's not even talk about special teams, because I feel like Deontay's been special.
Are there any nuggets that you've given Jameis since you were a competitor against him for so long that he said maybe has helped him? I mean, obviously he's on your team now, so you want him to be the best he can be. So is there anything you were able to share with him last season to say, hey, this is something that you tip teams off with, or any other nugget that you've seen as a defensive veteran?
I'm not telling you. Why would I tell you whatever conversation me and Jameis about any tips that we have? I'm not giving that to the world. That's locker room talk.
You decided on what facial hair you're going to rock this year yet?
I haven't, but I'm working towards something. I haven't figured out what I'm working towards, but I'm working towards something. I think I'll have probably like a Donald Glover, Lando Calrissian situation by camp. I've got to work on it. I don't know if I can just pull off the stash and baby goatee situation with the space in between. Oh, that's tough. I've had a space since like high school. That's tough.
This is the important stuff that we're talking about.
Great. Well, I think we're all set.
All right, perfect. You guys take it easy. Have a blessed one.
Good. Hey, what was kind of the most important lesson you took away from year 1, and what are you kind of hoping to how are you hoping to apply that going into your second year here?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of lessons, but the main one is just how to operate, I guess, on a day-to-day basis. You kind of get a feel for the organization, how things are run, how Coach Payton wants things in his offense. in regard to all the specifics. And really, I mean, you just continue to grow and grow and grow. And you come around this time now, and I know what it's like. Like, I'm not going to be getting into anything, whether it be something tied into the training room or the weight room or something. I'm not going to go into something and be like, oh, this is unfamiliar or anything like that. I'm going to go right into everything. I'm going to know what to expect. And that's just going to make it so much easier to grow again this year. So I'm very excited for this year, and obviously for when training camp rolls around, we can get everything going.
You feel like the full off season helps you in that regard? I mean, last year is obviously so truncated for everybody, and kind of probably made it tough as a rookie.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. I was actually literally just talking to our rookie tight end Dylan, and I was like, man, you guys are so lucky you get to come in here, and obviously it's different this year than even other rookie classes, but just for him to, like I said, you get a feel of the temperament of how we do things here, and you get acclimated to how your coach wants things done in the film room, on the field, and then you get to be around the guys and meet everyone. We went into camp last year, us rookies, and I mean, we had no idea how things were run here. You didn't, I mean, other than texting or seeing your teammates on Zoom calls, you had no idea who anyone was or really too personable with anyone yet. So yeah, I mean, they're definitely in a better place than we were, for sure.
How much pride do you take in as a tight end being able to block and using that last year to really earn playing time and impress some of the veterans?
Yeah, no, that coming kind of when I was coming out of college, that's something I always pride myself on, and really it always starts with an effort thing. And are you that type of guy that's willing to put your heart and soul kind of into every single snap and every single play, and really want to do it? That's half the battle in blocking. But yeah, I mean, I grew last year, just getting playing time, and starting to play well in the middle of the season, and then getting more playing time. And experience is the best teacher. And I mean, in camp, I had my fair share of failures, and even during the season and everything, but you just grow from that. And I felt very confident that in the season and what I could do blocking, and obviously, hopefully expand the role and continue to gain more and more trust within the organization and the coaches and my teammates as well.
What makes Taysom so athletic and smart in terms of being able to play so many different positions? I mean, you saw him come into y'all's position group and excel. So just, splitting time over so many different areas, what did he do to come in there and still learn everything that you guys did?
I mean, he's a brilliant dude. Really cares, obviously, a lot about, whatever he knows going into every single week. The coaches will lay out the game plan for him and what he needs to do. And he's brilliant, like I said, and he busts his tail. And I mean, he makes sure he's ready for whatever we need. Even if one of us got hurt and he could fill a role even then. That's how, prepared and ready he always is.
Hey, my bad if you already got asked this. We got 2 sessions here. I'm just passing it. There's been a lot of videos you guys working out with Jameis and doing different stuff in Florida, different places. Just how beneficial has that been for you to be able to be a part of that and get used to him and build some chemistry?
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I got to do it, obviously. And we continue building that with both him and Taysom right now. So that it was awesome. Just you get a feel for kind of how he wants how he wants certain things run, how and for him, he gets to tell, how fast are these guys coming out of breaks and how he can anticipate things and all things of that nature. So it's really just about developing chemistry, and, he figures out, kind of how you do things as a player, whether you need to be told what to do all the time, or your role and your responsibility. So yeah, I mean, it was awesome.
How did those off-season workouts come together? Like, who called who to set that up?
Well, actually, I was personally, for me, I worked out with him when I was in Southern California, because that's where I trained in the off season for about 10 weeks. And the quarterback coach, there's a quarterback guy out there, and he has a lot of quarterbacks that he works with. And he was like, "Hey, James is coming in." James didn't know I was out there or anything like that, but I texted him and I was like, "Hey, dude, I heard you're coming out here. Like, I'm out here. Like, let's get together. And he was like, oh, like perfect. Like, let's do it. So just met up with him and, we got to work. So.
Adam, how beneficial was it for you last year? You run guys like Jared Cook and Josh Hill, who've been in the league for a long time, and obviously they're not on the team anymore. So, was that like having that experience with those guys? That's going to help you now that it's kind of you're kind of leading behind it.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys were awesome to me. They, each of them brought a different skill set to the table. Josh, could line up and do anything for you in regard to blocking, especially. He was a specialist and super brilliant, smart guy. You want to talk about gaining trust of your peers and coaches. There was no doubt ever when he was, in the game or doing this responsibility or that responsibility of whether he could do it or get it done or knew what he was doing. That dude was always ready to go and everything. And then, Jared, he's been, I think last year was his 12th or 13th year. And he still moves like he's 25 years old. It's one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. And he's very knowledgeable as well, especially in the passing game. Learning from those two was great for me. I'm super happy. I got obviously drafted into the situation I did, not only because of the organization, but because of that, having two guys who have played this position for so long and done it at a high level. Super beneficial to me. And they taught me lessons that obviously I'll carry on throughout not only this season, but my whole career.
So what I kind of poorly asked there was, now that they're not here, does that kind of change the way you're thinking about coming into the season? Like, are you looking at this as your group? How do you kind of see that?
Yeah, obviously, you got here and you, I guess the best way to put it is the opportunity is there, obviously, to take control of it and everything like that. But, you got to be able to do it. There's no given, there's no not earned or anything like that in this league, obviously. And, I've never been given anything like that in my life anyways. I kind of pride myself on you get what you earn. So it's kind of my mentality, obviously, going into this year. I want, I work to have an expanded role in this offense and to be able to help us win games. So all offseason, just studying other guys, even film from last year from our own guys like a Cook or a Josh, just to be able to fill those roles and be able to do it all, because I think that's my role is I can do both, obviously, in the pass game, run game, and I can do whatever they need me to do. So yes, I have that mentality, obviously, of going in, and I want this, as in the position I'm in, I want this to be my group, and that's how I train is to be that guy.
You kind of touched on the acclimation process last year, but was there a point last year where things just started feeling easier with the language of the offense and the long play calls and all that, or was that kind of hard just with the way the offseason was, and you just feel like a lot better now?
Yeah, I think when I really started to play well last year and gain more reps is I talked to our coaches about this and the other guys, but it's like when you hearing the play call, and then once you get to the line of scrimmage, the process, how fast can you process what's going on? That's what, when I found out what my process is and how fast I can go through it, everything starts to slow down for you. There's no such thing as you just play in this league and then it just slows down. You have to it takes a process to be able to go through that and actually have it slow down. And that takes away the speed a lot. You can really start, and that's when you can really start to play, and you're not super worried about scheme or anything because you know what you're doing, and you get to line, you got time before the snap, and you can jump cadence, that. So that's when it really started to. That's when I really started to play well.
Can you take us through that process just to understand it, kind of what you're going through?
Yeah. So I on a certain run play, Drew goes up, or obviously last year, Drew goes up, mics it, and then it's all right, what technique am I playing against? Who's the player? Because obviously you tendency scout certain players that you're about to go up against, whether it be a defensive end or linebacker or outside linebacker, whatever it is. And then how do I defeat them? And you obviously the preparation you do during the week solves all of that. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of how, and you just got to go through that fast. And once you do, you know exactly what you're doing and you feel very confident in what you can do.
Perfect. I think we're all set. Thanks, everyone.
All right. Thank you.
Off season. I was wondering how that came about.
Yeah, I've been working out with Jameis quite a bit this off season. It pretty much came about as him reaching out to me. You know, he reached out to me one time. He asked me to come, and I was like, I'm not in town. I'm not around right now. And then I actually reached out to him the second time because I ended up being in Tampa. And I was like, yo, I'm in Tampa. He was like, man, I'm not even here. I'm in San Diego right now. And then he was like, man, you know what? Listen, next week I'm going to be in LA. You got to come to LA. And ever since then, that week, I've pretty been with James the whole time this offseason.
So basically, you had to follow him around the country.
Yeah, definitely. But he's a great quarterback. He paid for my flight to get out there. So, yeah, if he paid for it, I definitely have no excuse of not coming.
How did I know you won't know this yet until the season starts, but how do you think that's helped a little bit? I mean, it's got to help a lot with timing and chemistry just to have all that extra work before y'all actually get to the facility.
Yeah, definitely. We feel like we're building a good bond, not just, on the football field, but off the football field, just getting to know him as a person, getting to know him, in certain situations, how he act around his family, around his wife and kids. He's honestly like just a great person in general, and everything that comes on the football field, and towards the season, I feel like it's not going to be by mistake. It's all going to be for a purpose because that's just the type of person he is. He works very hard, and like I seen it firsthand, working out with him next to him, like he's honestly a hard worker, and I know for a fact it's going to pay off, just with him.
So did his family come out to like y'all's training sessions, or were you staying with him, or I guess how did you end up getting to know them?
So, like I said, he's a very good person. And he invited me into his home. He's like, if you don't want to get a hotel, look, you can stay at my place. I got rooms. You can stay at my place. So yeah, I met, his wife, his kids, his mom, everyone. So yeah, he invited me into his home and I stayed there.
Having a healthy Michael Thomas back, how much can that help the entire receiver corps open things up for your entire offense?
Oh man, definitely. Just having Mike, presence on the field and in the room. He's a great guy. You see what he can do when he's healthy. Like everybody knows what Michael Thomas can do when he's healthy, and just having him back and around, it's a great experience. Him, teaching the young guys a lot, and just his presence, being a veteran. So it's great having him back.
Do you have a favorite story of him maybe competing in something off the field, whether it's video games or ping pong, where he's just that competitive?
I wish I had a story, but no, nothing too much off the field about Mike.
Quan, I know you did a lot more down the field in college. Do you feel like there's elements to your game that you could maybe unlock a little bit with a more vertical stretch out offense that isn't quite as condensed?
Yeah, definitely. And we talked about it a lot. James already told me, he was like, man, listen, when I got the ball, whatever you do, don't stop running. Because, I'm looking forward to, stretch the ball this year. So, man, please don't stop running on me. Yeah. And don't make me look bad if you're not running. So definitely, I definitely think we're looking to stretch the ball a lot this year.
What's the difference in that? Just like, are you able to take a little bit more time to get open? Like, is a little bit more time to set up your routes in that when you got a little bit more time and the offense is a little more stretched out? Like, how does that change things for you?
It really, I say, it really doesn't change much for me. Now it's kind of like you as a player, like if your route is usually a decoy route, like, and it takes you all the way down the field, you know what I mean? Now it's still an option. Like he said, don't stop running, because usually, you may start running, you got a decoy route, you take your guy out of there. But now he's like, don't start running, because, I'm going to come backside, and if it's open, I'm going to throw you. I don't care if you like 60, 70 yards down the field, I'm going to throw it. So that's kind of how it is.
So every season is pretty critical, but do you feel like this one might be even more so for you because, you've had the seasons where you hadn't been able to finish out because of injury and that kind of thing?
Yeah, and that's one of my biggest focus. I
I said this last year and the year before, but I really don't know. Is it's not like I don't prepare, and like I don't prepare myself not to get injured, but it's just something, that I really can't control. And I've been trying my best, this all season just to work on the minor things that may lead up to it, even though it's not hurting now, and just, fixing it and tweaking it and making sure it's strong as possible. So, I don't have no, ankle injuries this year.
Are there anything that you've done that have been a complete departure from what you have been doing, or are you just trying to be better at what you have been doing in terms of preparation?
Pretty much. It's nothing that I didn't do. Like as far as prepping my body, and making sure all my details and everything's there. I say it's more emphasis on like the smaller things, like my core. Like I always thought I had a strong core, but my core wasn't really strong after I did different workouts. So, with James, like I realized like I thought my core was strong, but yeah, not. So it's kind of things like that.
Raekwon, do you feel like a level of trust from the coaching staff, front office, after they had to let Emmanuel go and they haven't really brought anybody else in? Like, do you feel like this is kind of like a big opportunity for you to really show what you could do as like a number two?
Yeah, definitely. I feel like it's a big opportunity for me, knowing that they didn't bring any, veterans and that didn't drive, a high receiver. I feel like they, expect me to show up this year, and that's just what I'm going to do, and I appreciate that.
Where do you think the biggest areas of growth you've made in these last couple of years?
Oh man, just trusting myself, putting myself in the right position to make plays, and being able to, being a veteran, being able to read defenses before it happens, put myself in the right spot, to be a football player and make plays. I feel like, that's going to be my strength this year.
Traquan, I know we've asked you about your blocking ability before, but is that something that you've really developed in the NFL, or you think that was always a strength of yours? Because I know it's really become a forte for you.
I say it always was, a strength of mine coming out of college. And where I was from at UCF, my coach Trey Walters and my coach Frost, they preach, no block, no rock. You got to be able to block, and help your teammates make plays. Then you can make a play. So it's something I always took to heart.
And I also can't help but notice, I remember talking to you early in your career about how you admitted that learning each different position took a little while, but now it feels like coaches always say that's one of your strengths is knowing every position. Do you still consider the outside your best strength, or do you feel like your versatility has reached a point where you don't really have one or the other?
To be honest, I feel like whatever position they want to put me in, I'm gonna be in that position, knowing I know every position, in this offense, and I feel like that's my strength, being versatile, not just playing outside, but playing, playing the sub position too. So like, I'm not hard on one position inside or outside. Put me in where I can play, coach, honestly.
Great. I think we're all set. Thank you.
What impresses you about Adam at the tight end position? What did he really do last season to really, win the favor of the offense?
So one thing I noticed about Adam Trout, he always run his routes hard, and like you could see it. And like in camp, me and a couple of guys talked about him. I was like, man, he gonna be good. Like he get the opportunity to play, he's going to be good because every day in camp he showed up without a doubt. Like he made plays like literally every day in camp. Like so, you once you see that, from a person, you was like, it's gonna be, it's gonna be a nice journey for them. Like they're doing it so easily. Like every day they're coming out here and grinding and making plays. And I was just so happy for him because he literally did everything you asked him to do and made the plays that you thought someone wouldn't make, and he made them. Like so I was very impressed with him.
I think we're all set. Thanks, Traquan.
All right, thank you guys.